All right, my name is April Price, and I work with the Tri-County Regional Energy Network, or 3CREN for short. There's our logo on the screen. And today we'll be going over the program that I manage, the Single Family Home Energy Savings Program. This program is something that I really hope will help your business serve folks in the Tri-County area and do even more energy savings projects than you're already doing. So that's my goal here, to support you in that work. Our kind of agenda here is I'll introduce my agency a bit more, and then we're going to talk through our program. And finally, we're going to hear from another another partner here. So we've invited 3CE to speak to their energy savings program as well, 3CE/tech. And the reason that we're presenting two programs here is really that our program is stackable with that program for electrification projects. And so we'll get into the details here, but your main takeaway here is that by using our program, the tech program, the 3CE program, and the tax credits, we really hope that electrification projects in the area will be vastly more affordable for your customers and a lot more attractive. Okay, there's my intro. I work again for 3CREN, the Tri-County Regional Energy Network. 3CREN is a collaboration between 3 neighboring counties working to improve energy efficiency in the region. We do so by offering programs for professionals such as trainings and support with code compliance. And we also work to support households. And we're able to do so. All of our services are free. We're able to access ratepayer dollars and then return those investments back to our local community. Next slide, please. So I mentioned we have 3 programs. I'm happy to discuss any of our programs. I do hope that the contractors on our call today have participated in some of our building performance training classes. If you haven't, they're great free classes that can really hopefully help you gain even more knowledge about advanced building performance. So we're going to really focus and zero in on home energy savings. Next slide. So at the core, our program today is designed to provide incentives directly to you, directly to our contractors for delivering energy savings or electrification to residents of the Tri-County region. That's the bottom line here. We want to pay you for the energy that you save your customers. Next slide. Now, 3CREN as an agency has goals of making sure that our programs are equitable, and we have some additional goals listed on the slide here that are kind of just, well, core to our program. So we want to make sure that we are doing this work by supporting local contractors. So that means that the incentives paid to local folks are a bit higher than outside entities that opt into this program. We also provide higher incentives for the projects that you do on hard to reach households. We'll get into the meaning of what hard to reach is, but basically our underserved community members, you're going to be paid more for doing projects on their homes, and you're going to be paid a lot more for those projects. We're also working to support electrification, decarbonization for the region. So the incentives are going to be much higher when you are switching out gas appliances for highly efficient electric appliances like heat pumps. Next slide. So at the core, we expect you to continue to do the great work in the community that you already do. You're getting your customers new equipment, making their homes more comfortable, and saving them money on their energy bills. And by opting into this program, you would just be submitting your projects to 3CREN, and we would be paying you again in the form of incentives for the value of the energy that you're saving those customers. And again, you're going to get paid more if you're serving those hard to reach customers, doing electrification work, or if you are a local contractor. Next slide. So we ran a competitive solicitation to deliver energy savings programs to our region. And we are working with a company called Recurve. So I'm going to be handing it over to really the expert of this platform, who will walk you through the rest of the program and who will really be your primary contact moving forward if and when you decide to participate. So thank you very much, Tyler. Take it away.
All right, thanks, April. Yep, like April said, my name is Tyler Cashton. I work with a company called Recurve. We implement the program for 3C REN, and so really what that means is that if you get involved in this program, you'll be working with Recurve. You'll be working with me. I'm the primary point of contact between our contractor community that participates in this program and the program itself. And so what Recurve does is we provide support to contractors. So when you get signed up, we help you get onboarded. We have, project submission instructions. We have support materials for you to help you understand what the incentive amounts you might expect are, understand the process of submitting a project, et cetera, et cetera. Recurve also created and manages the program's online platform, which has information about the program, and it also has the project submission portal, essentially where you actually will go to submit information to the program about your projects. We provide project submission support. So if you need help with that, you can work with Recurve and we'll support you in whatever way you need. And then we also do the project tracking and incentive payments. And I'll get a little bit into more of what I mean when I say project tracking, but we also kind of facilitate the incentive payments as well. And so in order to become a registered provider of the program, contractors are actually going to sign an agreement with Recurve because Recurve is implementing the program. And we'll share this slide deck after the presentation, and there's a link where you can just follow to sign up if you are not signed up already. So kind of diving into the mechanics of the program and how it works. So a real brief overview, sort of in line with what April was talking about. Contractors, you guys are out there in the field working with your customers, and you're installing energy savings and electrification measures for your customers. When you do that, every single project that you install is going to have a little bit different of kind of an energy savings value associated with it. The conditions at every home out in the real world are a little bit different. And so one of the unique things about this program is that incentives are really based on a site's unique energy savings value that you think that you'll be able to achieve there. And so you have to estimate energy savings for your project. So you go out, you're working with your customer, you're drafting up a proposal for a project for them. And included in that, you have to estimate what the energy savings that you will be able to deliver for your customer are going to be. There are any utility incentive program is going to have, programmatic forms that have to be filled out and signed. So we have two forms that you have to get signed by your customer. Let's say you install a job, you complete a job, you're going to submit information about your project that you've completed through the program's online portal. That will include your energy savings estimate. It will include those two programmatic forms. There's a couple photos, copies of invoices, very standard utility energy efficiency program stuff. And once you submit that, it's reviewed and approved, and you're going to begin receiving incentive payments fairly shortly after you submit all the information. So very, from a mechanical standpoint, from what the experience is like to participate, if you've participated in any other utility energy efficiency program in the past, it's going to be very familiar to you. Some forms, an online portal where you submit information, et cetera, and then incentive payments that follow. So how are incentive amounts determined? This is going to deviate probably from a lot of people's experience working with utility incentive programs. So like I mentioned previously, every single project that you're doing out there in the real world is going to have a different amount of energy savings that you predict that your project is going to deliver for your customer based on what they have at their home currently and what you're installing and where their home is located and the age of their home. The number of people in their home. There's all these different factors that are going to make a project unique in terms of the energy savings values. And so Our incentives are based off of the unique energy savings that your project is going to deliver to your customer. And there's two pieces to that. There is the estimated savings. So you're going to submit an energy savings forecast. That's going to estimate the amount of energy savings that your project is going to deliver. We pay a guaranteed upfront incentive amount that is based on that energy savings estimate. In addition to that, that's sort of the rebate portion, if you will, that you get guaranteed upfront after you submit information about the project. Then there's a second portion of the incentive, which is a performance-based incentive. So what we are doing through this program is we're actually using the smart meter that's on the home, and we're going to be measuring the energy usage over the 12 months after the project is installed. We're going to be measuring real energy savings. And if your projects perform well and deliver the energy savings that you predicted, there's going to be additional incentive that you get in the form of this performance-based incentive based on the metered savings that we are able to measure using the smart meter on the building. And that's both gas and electric we'll be measuring the savings from. So two parts. Every single incentive is going to be unique to a particular home. And there's two pieces to it, the upfront portion based on the estimate and the actual performance-based portion that you would get paid out over time as the savings are measured at the meter. More on that performance-based incentive. This is kind of a novel concept, so I think it's important that we provide a little bit more information about how this worked. So the way that we do this is, again, we are going to monitor energy usage at the home for 12 months after the project is completed. Energy savings. So those energy savings have value to the grid. As those savings are accrued and measured, and we actually are measuring that ongoing energy meter data, savings are accrued and therefore value to the grid is accrued. And as the value is accrued, we're going to evaluate every project. So let's say you submit 10 projects, over the course of several months. At the end of every calendar quarter, so that would be at the end of March, at the end of June, et cetera, we're going to evaluate every project that's in your portfolio. If they have accrued enough value to earn payable incentive, we will pay you out shortly after the end of every calendar quarter. That performance-based portion of the incentive, contractors have the option to choose to pass it along to the customer in some form, or to keep it to increase margins for their projects. It's certainly possible that you could reduce the price that you're showing to your customer because you anticipate this performance-based incentive. But obviously, there's a lot of scenarios where your contract with your customer would already have been paid out fully. And so, it may not be natural for you to go back to your customers and give them additional incentive, but you certainly have the option to do that. The key is that with that performance-based incentive, very flexible what you can do with it. It's not a known amount up front. Obviously, it's going to be based on the performance, but you're certainly able to use that either to help your business, help grow your business, pass along to your customers, increase, your customer satisfaction, whatever it is you want to do. So that's kind of the mechanics of the program and how incentives are figured and how that works. As far as which types of sites are eligible for the 3C REN single family program, it has to be a single family home within the Tri-County area. So that's Ventura, Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo County. In order to get electric incentives, electric delivery has to be from PG&E or SoCal Edison. Supply can be through CCA, that's fine, but as long as you're connected to the PG&E or SCE grid, you're eligible for electric incentives. You would not be eligible for electric incentives, or I should say incentives based on predicted and actual electric reduction if you have like a municipal utility. There's a couple tucked through the 3C REN territory. One that comes to mind, I think, is Lompoc has municipal utility. So you are not eligible to receive electric incentives if you have municipal supply within the Tri-County, but as long as you have PG&E or SCE, you're good. And gas delivery, same thing, PG&E and SoCal Gas. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's every single gas customer within the Tri-County region would fall into one of those two. The homeowner has to have lived in the home for at least 12 months. Again, we are going to be using, we're going to be looking at the 12 months previous and then comparing that to the 12 months after the install. So we need 12 months of clean usage prior to in order to measure savings. For the same reason, no solar can have been installed in the last 12 months. We need that clean baseline to measure savings. If you installed solar 6 months ago, it's going to make your usage change dramatically. It's going to be fairly challenging for us to measure savings on the performance side. So no solar in the last 12 months. And again, same thing, no ratepayer funded utility incentives received in the last 12 months. If you got 6 months ago, you got an incentive for an efficient AC that was put in or something like that, your energy usage profile is going to have changed at your customer site. It makes it really hard for us to measure those savings. So those sites are not eligible as well. So as long as it home meets all of those criteria, it is eligible to participate in the program. And then from a project type perspective, this is what I would consider one of the really big strengths of this program, is that just about anything that reduces energy consumption permanently, think of an efficient AC upgrade or insulation, is eligible, because we are paying out incentives based on predicted and actual energy savings values that are unique to a home. We don't have a restrictive measure list like a lot of other programs do. And so really anything you are doing that is reducing energy consumption permanently qualifies for incentives. Anything that shifts load out of peak, there's value to the grid for moving load from summertime peak to off peak, and we can quantify that value, and we can measure that in the utility data, and therefore we can pay out incentives on projects that do that. Any natural gas to electric conversion, electrification projects qualify for incentives as well. The only thing really that's not eligible for incentives through this program would be generation. So if you're offsetting usage with solar, obviously that's going to reduce your overall kWh that we'll be measuring at the meter, but that is not eligible. Same thing with fossil fuel generation. This is specifically an efficiency and electrification program, not a generation program. More about hard to reach customers. So there are incentive multipliers like April mentioned for hard to reach customers, and I have some figures to kind of illustrate what those values look like. But to define a hard to reach customer in Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo County, a customer must meet only one of these following 3 criteria to be considered hard to reach. They qualify for a CARE or FARA utility assistance rate, or they live in a mobile manufactured home, or English is not the primary language spoken. Any one of those 3 classifies them as a hard to reach customer. We want to help. These are the folks specifically who, in the history of energy efficiency programs have generally not been able to take advantage of them. And so, 3C REN, because this is a big goal of their organization, is to serve these customers, have essentially made it so that any of these customer types get these enhanced hard to reach incentives. Now in Ventura County, it's the same. You only need to meet one of those 3 criteria, but the home also has to exist within a disadvantaged community. There's a map that actually specifies. It's really, really easy to use. The link is right here. So when you get access to this slide deck, you'll be able to go in and you'll be able to see in Ventura County where those disadvantaged communities are. So they would have to meet one of the 3 criteria listed there and also live inside of one of those disadvantaged communities in Ventura County. So what do incentives look like? I think this is something that everybody's probably very interested in. And like I've mentioned a couple of times, incentives are going to vary based on the predicted and actual energy savings of each individual project. Every project is going to be different. Every project is going to you're going to predict a different amount of energy savings for every project. Every project is going to deliver a different energy savings value. So the next few slides show average incentive values that you can expect for projects of various measures. But keep in mind, these are really only ballpark figures to show you about what you might expect to see. Your projects are going to be unique. The energy savings are going to be unique. The incentives are going to be unique to your projects. But the incentive values that you're going to see are it's the combined total of the upfront guaranteed incentive and the estimated performance-based incentive that you're going to see. So that's an all-in predicted incentive value. And just for everyone's context of sort of what that really means practically, upfront incentives are going to be equal to 50% of the total estimated incentive for the entire project. So if you predict a project is going to generate, 1,000 kilowatt hours, which translates to $3,000 of incentive roughly based on the measure type you're installing, 1,500 would be paid up front, with the other 1,500 assumed to be paid to you if the project delivers that 1,000 kWh savings over the year after the install. And so here is a little table that I think it makes it really, really easy to kind of visualize what you might expect. So these are incentive projections for standard or non-hard to reach customers. So baseline incentives in the program. You'll see on the left-hand side the measured types over there. And then across the top in the various colored columns, those are different energy savings values. So I'm just going to use HVAC as an example. So that would be the top column. I'm sorry, the top row. And then if you look, if you install an HVAC project that delivers 500 kWh savings, the total all-in incentive would be about $1,720. You would get paid out 50% of that upfront based on your forecast of 500 kWh savings. And then if your project delivered 500 kWh savings over the year that we measured it, you'd get the additional 50% of that. So, $860 or whatever over the 12 months after the project was installed. And you can see that as the energy savings values go up, so too does the incentive. And so really the cool thing is if you deliver really great energy savings, or if you find a project where maybe there's like a really old, inefficient AC unit and you install, a nice new efficient AC unit, the amount that you will get compensated for that will go up because you're delivering additional value to the grid in the form of additional energy savings. And you see that these are projected out, the value for, X amount of kWh savings for various measure types. Those are a little bit different. And that's simply because, energy saved over summertime peak is more valuable to the grid than energy saved, in April or whenever overnight, for example. And so, when we predict the amount of savings and value that an HVAC project is going to deliver, obviously HVAC is going to be used, cooling, air conditioning is going to be used mostly over summertime peak. So those savings just happen to be, predictively speaking, more valuable than savings from other measure types, just because of when that measure type is used. But with that being said, again, these are all sort of projections here. And your projects are going to deliver unique energy savings at unique times, and the value that you get compensated on the performance of those projects, that 50% performance-based portion of the incentive, is going to be on the actual measured energy savings. So these are, again, just ballpark numbers. Here are those same exact numbers for hard to reach. So let me just toggle here real quick. This is the standard not hard to reach. I'll look at 1,000 kWh savings of HVAC, nets an incentive of about $34.40. For a hard to reach customer, that number goes up considerably to over $10,000. So we are really trying. 3C Rent is really interested and invested in making sure that these hard to reach customers are served. And what they want to do is they want to provide you as contractors an additional incentive to go and help those customers. And so again, $3,400 up to $10,000 of incentive. That's a very significant incentive. 50% of that would be paid up front based on the estimate to help you drive down the cost of the project. And then as that project delivers energy savings, that's just additional compensation that you would receive for delivering a project to a hard to reach customer that delivers real energy savings to the grid. So the hard to reach incentives, I think this is really important to note. These are very significant incentives. And you see on the far right column, if you begin to deliver really solid energy savings, 2,000 kWh, that is a reasonable number in a lot of circumstances. And I'm sure a lot of folks on this call know that 2,000 kWh savings can be delivered to a residential customer. For an HVAC project, that would be worth $20,000 of incentive. That is a very significant number that can really, we hope, help all the contractors that participate in this program target those customers and really help those customers. Lastly, I have some incentive information here on electrification projects. This is formatted a little bit differently. For electrification, there's both a gas decrease and there's an electric increase, right? You're going to be removing gas heat and putting in electric as the heating source. And so oftentimes you're going to see a reduction in the therms and then an increase in the kWh. Well, the way that the program was designed, if you're doing an electrification project, we devalue the sort of the value to the grid of the negative kWh savings and keep the value of the therm reduction fairly high. And what that does is, instead of those two numbers sort of washing each other out, this still enables electrification projects to net really attractive incentives. And so you see on the top there, that's a water heater. Heat pump water heater is what that would be if you're going from a gas water heater to a heat pump water heater. And you can see the various, therm reduction and kWh increase values in the column in orange, and then the associated incentive value, and then the multiplier then, and what that value would be for hard to reach customers. And then the bottom one there, that's heat pumps. Really, I would encourage everybody to think about this in the same way. These are relative values that you might expect. Every project is going to be unique and different. But the key is that electrification projects work fairly well through this program. There are really solid incentives that you can achieve if you deliver an electrification project that has pretty decent therm savings. part of the design of the program was to make sure that those projects were incentivized, and the structure enables that to happen. And if you do it for a hard to reach customer, again, there's a really solid multiplier that you'll get to even further promote electrification projects for hard to reach customers as well. Kind of on a final note about the 3C REN single family program and what's in it for you if you decide to join and participate. Like April mentioned, 3C REN is a collaboration of local community governments. As such, they have very strong ties to the residents in the community. They also have like a very strong desire to serve those customers. I mean, we're talking, this is the county governments that represent these people that want to work with the folks in the community to help them get access to these incentives. Residents know 3C REN, and they look to 3C REN to be a resource that can connect them to contractors who do energy related work. We have a ton of folks who are requesting to get connected to contractors all the time. As a registered provider of the program, you can get connected to these residents who are looking for your services. Basically, being a part of the program, an active participant of the program, and getting involved and being engaged. We have customers who are looking for your services, and we're passing every single week. I pass along residents to our participating contractors and let them know that if they're interested, there are people who are looking for their services. So this, really plain and simple, can help you grow your business by being a part of this program. How to sign up? Again, you sign an agreement with Recurve to sign up. There's a link to the agreement here in the slide deck, which everybody will have access to after the presentation. Once that's signed, Recurve, that would be me, we'll reach out with info on next step. We'll help you with, materials for the program to help you understand, what incentives might be, again, to help you maybe understand what your typical project type might get for an incentive. I'm happy to run a kind of a quick custom, incentive analysis if you have some numbers you want to look at. We have instructions on project submissions. We'll get you logged into the platform. We'll support you from the beginning to the end to help you, really be successful, take advantage of this program, get some of that incentive money in your hands for helping residents in the Tri-County region. I'll just finish up by saying we'd love to have anybody who wants to participate. If you are delivering energy efficiency, if you're delivering electrification, if you're serving hard to reach customers, any of that, we would love to have you as a part of the program. The more diverse group of stakeholders we can have engaged that deliver, diverse solutions related to energy efficiency and electrification, we'd love to have you. So please do sign up or reach out to me, and I'd be happy to provide additional context for you. And so with that, I'm going to pass it over to Sam, who is representing the 3CE, not to be confused with 3C REN. That's Central Coast Community Energy, 3CE and Tech program. That is a program that is stackable on top of the 3C REN program. You can submit the same project to both programs and get both incentives. You can collect money from both incentive pots towards your one project. So I'm going to turn it over to Sam for a couple minutes. I'm going to switch over to his slide deck here. I'm going to put that in presentation mode, hopefully. And Sam, I will let you take it away to go through the tech and 3CE incentives here.
Excellent. Thank you, Tyler. Yeah, my name is Sam Campsay. I'm the lead account manager throughout the whole entire state for the Tech Clean California program. Actually, the account manager for your region is Katie Nash, who's on PTO. So I, stepped in to fill in for her on this opportunity for this presentation. So yeah, talking about Tech Clean California, we can go into the first slide. For those of you that don't know or haven't heard about Tech Clean California, it's actually the statewide initiative to help electrify California by providing incentives for both heat pump, space conditioning, and water conditioning alike. Some of you that may have participated on the program in the last iteration in Tech 1.0, they had this hope and interpretation that this program would last for 3 years with the funding, but being a victim of the success of the program, that funding was utilized rather quickly than anticipated in about 5 or 6 months. So on this first slide, we're showing that, over $31 million went into this, with over 1,000 contractors enrolled in the program and hundreds of thousands of hours of training that have gone into this program to provide free training to all, tech participating contractors. The good thing is this program is looking to relaunch, this time next month, late next month, with a lot of funding that's already been secured and even more funding on the way. But yeah, so we can go into the next slide. A little bit of what Tyler mentioned earlier. And April mentioned earlier about the Electrify Your Home program, that incentive program that's available to residents in the area in the Monterey County, San Benito, Santa Cruz, San Luis Obispo, and Santa Barbara counties. This fantastic program that's consistently been providing incentives to help customers and contractors alike to electrify their homes with heat pump technology, which is a great partnership because, like many times has been noted on this webinar, that these incentives that are available also stack with the tech program. So they pretty much follow all the same guidelines and rules to participate, except for the electric resistance conversion over. And with tech, one notable instance is they don't provide incentives for heat pump to heat pump conversions. We can go into the next slide. So yeah, the 3CE, the Electrify Your Home program, in order to be qualified for it, super simple. You just reside in one of these counties, single family and multifamily both qualify, and there's even more incentives, potentially available for customers that are income qualified, so care and fair customers alike. So that we can go into a little bit about the available incentives that we have on the 3CE to 3CE customers. We'll go into the single family home slide. So the baseline incentive that's available currently, so for heat pump space conditioning, right? You can either have a unitary unit or a split system, or ductless mini split or ducted mini splits. Code minimum is the requirement on this program. So the incentives that are available for tech, they kind of streamline it across the board to make it super simple. Part of the guidelines for tech is any resident in California, but however, on this program, based on the efficiency of the equipment that you're installing, would give you the potential to get higher incentives. So for code minimum equipment, you get $1,500 on the 3CE program, stacked with that tech incentive of $2,500 total. If you step up the efficiency on your equipment, for this year we have SEER 2 requirements, and some of the equipment that's still available still goes by SEER 1. So if it's 16 SEER on the SEER 1, 15.2 on SEER 2, that incentive goes up to $3,000. And then even goes up even higher if that equipment efficiency is even higher, as it shows on the screen, 18 SEER for SEER 1, 17.1 on the SEER 2 guidelines and the HSPF requirements. That gives you the potential in a single family home to get $3,500 available in incentives. Then on the heat pump water heater side, across the board, we have unitary heat pump water heater incentives. I know they have split systems out there by a couple of different manufacturers like Sanco. But yeah, it's converting over from natural gas to propane. If you're getting a system that the tank storage is less than 55 gallons, that incentive is $3,300. If you get it higher than 55 gallons, it's $3,800. A little later this year, around June or July, the tech program, where it's going to be called SGIP with self-generated incentive program, those heat pump water heater incentives will be available. I believe they'll start at around $3,100 that will be able to stack with this program. And it goes a little bit higher depending on other requirements, and also for harder to reach customers, they're going to have a different incentive available, as well as incentives available to help if your customer needs a main panel upgrade. So continue on this slide. That brings us to those additional upgrades. So if your customer does need a main panel upgrade, there's incentives available on this program. And there's still quite a few dollars that are still available in the budget. And, it's indicated here, over $250,000, around that area, actually, that's still available. And then if your customer is income qualified for Cara Farah, there's an additional bonus incentive available for that. So going into workforce development, even everybody that's a tech participating contractor qualifies for free available training. We have the National Comfort Institute also offers in-person training as well. We have training webinars that are available on Mondays, starting at 7 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock in the morning for contractors that, it's difficult to take your guys out of the field. So start your week off right, 7 a.m., 2-hour training. That's actually put together by the Energy Star Manufacturers Action Council. So a whole bunch of different manufacturers have gone together to put into these different trainings to help you understand heat pump water heaters, how to talk about them, how to install them. And there's also a tech program that's launching that if you're interested in installing heat pump water heaters and you'd like to be able to speak on it with your own personal opinion, they have a program available that you can go through a process to get a free heat pump water heater for yourself to install at your home, that we're working with the distributors and manufacturers, so you can speak about your personal experience. So if you want some more information about that, I can leave my information in the chat. Also, I'm going to leave in the chat information for the account manager for this region so that when she does come back from her well-deserved vacation, you can reach out to her for some more information. So Electrify My Home has in-person and online trainings, as well as if you're looking to do work for multifamily homes, AEA, the Association for Energy Affordability, has webinars that are both live and previously recorded webinars. So all free to tech participating contractors. A little bit more information on the next slide about that partnership for workforce education and training, that partnership that we have with the manufacturers and distributors. Again, training's 100% free for all tech enrolled participating contractors, and a lot of great information. So the next slide will show you some information on that process in which I just mentioned. Was that webinar was available to everybody. You want to get a little bit more into it, they have that manufacturer specific training. And then for tech enrolled contractors, if you're looking to take advantage of that free heat pump water heater to install at your own home, that's the process of which that we take. You start with the webinar, you get a little bit more information there. You work directly with your distributors on the equipment that we have this partnership with. You get the equipment yourself, you install it yourself. And yeah, I mean, who wants to pass up on an opportunity like that? It's fantastic. I'm hoping I can convince somebody to allow me to take advantage of that. So going into the next slide, if you don't participate currently in the Tech Clean California program, you can log on to the Switches On website. Make sure that you click the little box that says you're interested in participating in tech. Submit all the information. We have a new trade participation agreement that's going to go out. Even if you have historically, in the last iteration of the program, you have participated in tech, we'll be getting in contact with you guys this week or next week with that new TPPA or Trade Professional Participation Agreement. All you have to do is sign that and you're still in the game. You're still enrolled in the program, just like the last iteration. You still appear on the Switches On website with that tech badge, so that when customers are looking for tech participating contractors, they can filter by that. But yeah, if you're new to the program, super simple. The guidelines are similar to CSLB as far as the insurance requirement. I know in the first iteration of the program, they were requiring a little bit higher insurance, but that didn't really make any sense, so they pulled back on that. And another bit of information is the CSLB has let us know that if you're a C20 contractor, HVAC contractor, you can, with your license, install a heat pump water heater. It doesn't have to be plumbing specific. So that creates so much more opportunity for everybody out there. If you're just a regular, C20 HVAC contractor, knowing that you can, put in your scope of work that if you want to install a heat pump water heater for your customer and have that same conversation, plenty of opportunity there, right? So the next slide will have some email addresses. If you're looking out to get in touch with people. Again, my name is Sam Campsay. I am the head and lead account manager throughout the whole entire state for the Tech Clean California program. If you email that email address on the top, it'll get to us in our inbox. The primary program administrator for the Tech Clean California program is Energy Solutions, who we work in partnership with. If you have any questions for Energy Solutions, there's the email address there for them as well. I noticed that in the chat that there's a question about NCI training available in Ventura County. I just had a conversation, as a matter of fact, literally before getting onto this webinar, that our website needs to get updated. We have training scheduled out through June. Unfortunately, I don't know why the website only shows the training as of until yesterday, but that's in process of getting it put up. If you like, you can reach out to us directly, or you can reach out to NCI directly. They're constantly looking for contractor feedback to see where you're interested in having these trainings, so more people have the opportunity to take advantage of that. They're also considering having trainings available at distributors near you, such as Ferguson has hosted 100% of the trainings that we asked them to offer. And there's also potential for them, if you have enough people in your office, for them to come directly to you and host these trainings at your site. So it just helps lift that load. If you can't afford to take your guys out of the field so long, we'll bring the show to you so you can get comfortable and confident talking about heat pump, water heater, and space conditioning. If you have little information, or if your guys aren't confident enough to talk about it in the field, which effectively, even though the tech program right now is waiting for that relaunch next month, all these trainings go on no matter what. We have specific earmarked funding for trainings. So no matter what, we're going to have training available. That's part of this whole entire market transformation, is to get that information out there.
All right. Thank you so much, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
You've just heard a lot of information about two programs that have a lot of details. So I'd like to just summarize a couple of things. If you are a contractor that offers electrification solutions within the Tri-County region, San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, and Ventura County, you have the opportunity to stack some incentives. So you have the single family incentive. Let's just go through an example here. If you're getting some moderate to high energy savings by replacing an old furnace with a heat pump, you might get, $6,000 total incentive. Let's say $3,000 upfront through the 3C Rent incentive. Then you're looking at layering that with about $2,500 from 3C if your customers are in the 3CE Central Coast Community Energy Territory. And then you're able to layer that with the federal tax credit. So, you're looking at, I'm not going to do mental math here, but, in the neighborhood of $9,000 total off of a heat pump project. So, thank you, Sam, for the customers that aren't in 3CE territory, still able to access that $1,000 tech incentive that Sam mentioned that's relaunching soon. So great opportunities here. I would also like to just tease the fact that if you're signing up for our program, Sam mentioned great training opportunities for getting your crew ready to install heat pumps. Fantastic. We also have another training opportunity for your sales staff if you want to participate in the 3C Rent program to really speak through the value savings that our program is offering. So that'll be a week from today, and encourage you to both sign up for our program and then follow up with that program. I just want to, I'll get to some questions here and we can open it up, but someone mentioned, do you offer these trainings in Ventura County? Just to kind of let you know what we're dealing with here, folks, we're getting a lot of interested customers reaching out to us saying, we want heat pump water heaters in Ventura County. And right now there are no contractors that are participating in rebate programs offering heat pump water heaters in Ventura County. So if you're on this call and you offer those services, sign up for our programs. We're educating consumers about these programs, and they want to see these programs enacted as line items on their bill. So I really invite you to follow up with us. This is a huge business opportunity. So with that, how about Tyler or Sam, if there's a question in the chat that you'd like to answer live, just go for it.
Sure. Yep. I see that from Cindy Edwards. For people qualifying for CARE or FARA, do those automatic incentives that come straight from PG&E disqualify the hard to reach areas? So for the 3C Rent single family program, if you have gotten a ratepayer funded utility incentive in the last 12 months, that could disqualify that particular site. It doesn't matter if it's hard to reach or a standard customer. If you've gotten a ratepayer funded utility incentive, it may disqualify the site. The eligibility check would screen for that, and we'd be able to tell you whether or not the site was eligible. And on a case-by-case basis, if you reach out to me, I can certainly help you understand eligibility of a particular site as well.
But Tyler, to that point, if Cindy is referring to just the disc associated with CARE and FARA, that wouldn't be with participating in our program, because you're just paying lower prices for your energy.
Correct. Yeah, okay. And maybe I was misunderstanding the question, but yeah, you're right. If you're on the CARE or FARA utility rate and you're getting those discounts automatically applied to your bill, that does not disqualify you at all from participating. It's just like an energy efficiency incentive for like equipment that was installed. That's what would disqualify you, but just getting the discounted rate does not disqualify. Those customers are absolutely still eligible for incentives. Does anybody else have any other questions that either myself or Sam or April can answer for you about any of the information you heard today?
Well, feel free to keep putting questions in the chat. I would just like to also let that I mentioned that we're out there educating potential customers about energy efficiency, but also really specifically electrification. And so we have we have a line that customers, we're letting them know that they can call, ask questions about incentive stacking. So Juan on the line here he's taking those calls. He's answering questions in English, in Spanish, via email, via phone, to really make sure that the information that we presented here is shared with customers in a more digestible fashion, perhaps. So if your customers are wanting to hear from someone other than you about the stacking opportunities, we'll go ahead and share those phone numbers in the chat here and also in our follow-up email to you.
Okay, I see the question from Aaron. Where do affordable housing developers fall under this, considering we are not contractors? So the single family program is a retrofit program. So because we're, it's based on, energy savings versus what was already at an existing home. And the fact that the utility account has to have been open for 12 months so that we can actually measure energy savings. If you're developing new housing, you would not be eligible for the 3C Rent single family program. I don't know about the Central Coast Community Energy and Tech program. Maybe Sam can speak to that. But, I will also say, like, despite your organizational type, we just use the word contractor because that's generally speaking who participates in these programs. But any organization that is involved in energy efficiency work can participate. Like, for example, we have some HERS raters that participate. They're not actually contractors, but they're registered providers of the program. So they work with contractors. And then, as an organization that partners with a contractor, that HERS rater could submit the project on behalf of the contractor into the program. So you're certainly not excluded from participating if you are not a contractor. But we just tend to use the term contractor because those are the folks who are doing the work. And I see, not to beat a dead horse, but I take a lot of classes from NCI. I was wondering if you only offer heat pump water heater classes. Sam, I believe that one's going to be for you there about the heat pump water heater classes or anything else that's offered.
Yeah, you can check on the NCI website. They have a link that's specific to the TechClean California program and what classes that they offer that are 100% free for tech enrolled contractors. So I'm actually on their website right now seeing if I can grab that link. Because I do know that they need to update the link on the TechClean California website for these events. But if I am able to find that link, I'm going to share it in the chat right now. And then if I'm not able to, please, I put my contact information into the chat. Feel free to reach out to me a phone call, and I'll see if I can get that information set out to you.
And just a reminder, in addition to the trainings offered through TechClean California, 3C Ren has a great suite of training opportunities available at our website. They're not all focused on electrification. They're focused on home performance. So cover a variety of topics, and I really encourage you to check them out. And I'll enter our home screen into the chat as well.
Any other thoughts, comments, questions, feedback? Anything? All right, I'm not seeing anything else coming through here. So like April said, thank you all so much for taking the time to participate. We know everybody here is incredibly busy, and we really appreciate the fact that that you take the time to come and spend some time with us and hear about the programs that we're offering. We want to help deliver energy efficiency savings and electrification projects to folks out in the Central Coast and throughout the state of California. We can't do that without, obviously that can't get done without the actual people who are on the ground doing the work. So thank you all so much for the work that you do and for enabling these programs to exist and be successful. We can't do this without you, and we want to get this money into your hands to help you to continue to deliver these services to people in the community and deliver great services at affordable prices. And we are here to support you. Again, these programs really are all about the people in the community, and they're all about you and the work that you're doing. And our job is just to support you and hopefully make it as easy as possible for you to deliver these benefits to people and get access to these incentives. So for anybody participating in the 3C Rent single family program, please do feel free. My contact info is right up here on this slide that you can see on the screen. And I'd be your main point of contact through the program, and am certainly, you know, open to devoting time to help you guys be successful, and take advantage of this program to the full extent. So again, thank you all very much for taking some time to join us today and hear about our program. And I don't know if anybody else has any other final thoughts or send-offs or anything like that, but April, looks like you came off mute.
Yeah, just yes, Brett, we'll send the presentation out, and we'll also be putting the slides on our website. So you can expect to hear from us shortly, and everyone enjoy the rest of your morning and the rest of your day. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.